Biashara Tuesday. This is KUTV Rise Today. I'm happy to join you and to have you join me again for another exciting show on Biashara Tuesday here on this fateful Tuesday morning. We'll be all the way to 10 a.m. This is the show where we take a look at matters of business, the economy, and any happenings that are informing the direction of business for the next few days. Let's begin from last week, where on Friday, the government or the country was actually engulfed in a nationwide blackout. We underwent a very serious period of 24 hours or more where the wealth and health of Kenyans was actually severely affected. Patients were struggling to breathe in various hospitals across the country, actually others succumbing due to the critical conditions in which they were in, and this is due to the lack of power. Businesses are counting estimable losses after a period where economic activity was shut down due to this nationwide blackout. The premier commercial and international airport of the Republic that is right within the Nairobi city capital was also undergoing a nationwide blackout, or was also undergoing that period of darkness. Travelers were engulfed in a period of darkness, and this is at an entry point to a republic which prides itself as an economic hub for investment and travel all over Africa and in East Africa. Transport CS Murkomen has issued an apology from JKIA, and this was also followed by the firing of others, individuals who are responsible, beginning with the director of the Kenya Airports Authority, and also following this blame game between the Kenya Airports Authority and KPLC. Well, Kenya Airports Authority did not provide contingency plans for such an eventuality. Well enough, but what about the original distributors or the original source of this power, which is the Kenya Power and Lightning Company? On being asked about it, Kenya Power were like, COCC asked the guys over at the Turkana Wind Generating Power Farm. Over in Turkana, they're saying no, it's not them. The wind generating farm is also pointing fingers back at Stima Plaza and saying that Kenya Power is solely responsible for this nationwide blackout. Now, the hopes of Kenyans on solution or on any justice coming out of this nationwide blackout now rests on the National Assembly Committee, which is responsible for energy. They've summoned the CS for Energy, Churchill, and also the responsible directors at the Kenya Power to explain on exactly what happened. Kenyans are waiting with shock, or due to the lack of electricity, without shock, to see exactly what this committee will deliberate. Will there be justice, or is this just another extension of the executive arm of the government, which will be a public showcase of nothing and no results will be seen at the end? As that is happening, Kenya is preparing to host the climate summit next month. The host president, President William Ruto, is the chairperson of matters of climate at the African Union. This morning, we are going to be discussing our climate change readiness with Dennis Kimani, the chairperson of the Youth Green Society, and also to ask ourselves a few important questions. If we can lack power for more than 48 hours, what does that say on our preparedness for sustainable energy solutions, which were nowhere to be seen when we were undergoing this kind of power blackout over the weekend? Speaking about building the nation, or lack of thereof for the side of Kenya, this morning we are speaking with Eric Masharia, a conversation on bricks. Bricks is not what you use to build your houses. It is, but for the conversation, for the purposes of the conversation we're having this morning, bricks is a term describing an economic region comprising of 6 countries. 6 more are expected to join, but let me begin with a little introduction to someone who might not know what BRICS is. BRICS is a term that was coined back in 2001 by a Goldman Sachs economist who described fastest growing economies that he predicts will be dominant in global economy by 2050. So BRICS comprises of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and the S is for South Africa. Actually, the chairperson of BRICS at the moment is the president of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa, and he said 6 more countries are seeking to join or are looking to join very soon in this economic bloc that is shifting away from the domination of the US and the dollar. Kenya is not amongst these countries which are likely to join very soon. So, are we missing out on the economic benefits? Analysts are describing BRICS as a way of direct foreign investment into these countries. Kenya isn't part of them, but we are hoping that maybe we can have a discussion on whether we are missing out, whether this is a win-win scenario, and are we just shifting masters, or can we do it on our own, given that Russia is at the helm and Brazil is at the helm? Are we shifting our focus from the UK and the US to a new master, or is this actually going to provide economic empowerment? So you definitely want to look out for that conversation, which will also be tied in with the newspaper review on the happenings of the Republic, from that nationwide blackout to the abduction of a mogul in the sugar business in this Republic, which also happened over the weekend. Very exciting conversations that we'll be having here on the show. This day, Kenyatta University is admitting the newest of its students, and we are going to discuss matters of education here. There's a new funding model, university funding model, but also, as we have spoken about BRICS and looking outside of our borders, are there opportunities for education outside of this Republic, and how can someone tap into that? A discussion that is happening with Bernard Odhiambo, who's a programs coordinator over at 8B Education, which is a platform that is offering opportunities and advice on how to navigate education if you're looking to study outside of this Republic. So that's an opportunity that you want to wait upon as we get to see our guests join us here on Biashara Tuesday. Send me your questions on social media on the hashtag Biashara Tuesday, and also tag me on my personal handle at Richard_OKENYE. Right now, let's take a look at the roads. What is happening out there? How prepared are we for the day, for work and business? What alternative routes we can use? And then we're back to matters of business and all those discussions that I've already mentioned to you. I'll be telling you who's joining me as we go on, and also giving you a shout out if you join us on the live stream on YouTube, KUTV Kenya. If you're outside the diaspora, of course, that live stream is going to be very useful for you, but all the others, you can also join us on Facebook, KUTV, and also on your television sets. Welcome to an exciting show of business on KUTV Rise today. Let's kick it off. Transport CS, Kipchumba Murkomen issued an apology last week. So for those who are having any qualms with him, that's the kind of information you have. We are waiting to see whether KPLC is giving us any apology or any explanation that is worth our time. Here, Omwamba is giving us our tweet of the day on the roads. And it goes like this because it's relevant for Biashara Tuesday. Having a small meeting with the conductor before boarding a matatu is another clear sign of poverty. Having a small meeting with the conductor before boarding a matatu is a very clear sign of poverty. So think about it and interpret it as you wish this morning. Let's take a look at MA3 route and what they're giving us on information, current transport, and information on traffic real time within the city and outside. Tweet me up as well. We'll be able to check that out. If you think safety rules are a pain, try having an accident. That's Karuga Wanjuguna who's saying there on Twitter. If you think safety rules are a pain, try having an accident and then let us know. North Airport Road is messy. North Airport Road is messy. Method Man is telling us there on Twitter. Transport and traffic is moving slowly from Muthaiga towards Pangani Tunnel due to a minor accident being cleared near that tunnel at 6:10 in the morning. So wale watu wanaelekea town from Thika Road and Kiambu Road, ukifika pale from Muthaiga to Pangani, the tunnel that gives you access to Ngara, there's a gridlock there because of a minor accident, and they're trying to clear it out since 6:10 in the morning. The consequences of parking on a BRT waiting bay, also the reason why you should check first for traffic from behind before parking your car, especially if you've parked on the side of a road or on a parallel parking lot. So here's an image of a car that is being damaged here. That is next to a BRT waiting bay. This should be Thika Road. I'm retweeting it on my timeline, so beware that when you're parking on the road, check around your surrounding. Here, South B route, matatu almost hit a child on the pavement as it was doing a U-turn and is being shamed. I'd love to know the circle, but they are giving information. This is Maverick on Twitter, Melaki Boy Maverick. The driver of this matatu almost hit a child on the pavement as they tried to do a U-turn. A matatu sacco by the name Enabled has brought competition to Supermetro's doorstep in the Kitengela route. 20 bob down, na hii jua, Metro must be feeling the heat. So that kind of competition is happening there in Kitengela, and the residents wanakaa ni kama wamefurahia sana. Back to school driving safety tips, maybe a rundown, mind school zones and speed limits, obey school bus rules, practice caution as at crosswalks, avoid distractions, expect unpredictable behavior, use caution during drop-off and pick-off, educate children about road safety. Those are back to school driving safety tips as students are going back to school. Schools are reopening, university and also high school and primary schools. Today morning while in traffic at Pangani Junction, this car was approached, this cop approached these cab guys and ordered them to pull down their window, and they got in. This kind of behavior has been normalized. When shall it stop? That's Clayton Ngambwa, and complaining about police officers who are getting into personal vehicles, and they'd like to know when that will stop. Is it illegal to exceed the 80 kph sticker, since legally these probox are not meeting the threshold for a speed governor? So probox zile za miraa zinafaa kuobey 80 kph sticker ama namna gani? That's a concern by Amuthomi KK pale on Twitter. Any more information, we'd love to know what is happening there. That's as much as we have on Thika Road and also on other regions, especially some rules on school, on driving safely as children are going back to school. If you have any more information, please let us know. But if you're approaching Kenyatta University on Thika Road towards Thika, you should be informed that from Kahawa Sukari all the way to Bypass is going to be a gridlock as new students are getting admitted at Kenyatta University for their first semester of the first year. So that's information on Thika Road mostly, but elsewhere, please let us know. Even outside of Nairobi, we'd love to know what is happening over there. Right now, going to have a look at the headlines, what has happened in the world of news locally and outside, and then before that, a conversation on a climate event that is happening September 1st with the YGS chairperson, that is Dennis Kimani. So let me take that break and then I'll be back here with you. Don't go too far from Biashara Tuesday. Why is knowing our history important? How much impact does the past have on what we consider our home? That's the kind of conversation that is happening here on the August 31st, and it's going to be at the Gweti. Is that how it's pronounced? Gweti Institute Library, and it's going to be at 6 p.m. on the August 31st, the Makondo Literary Festival on disrupting home. It's going to be a reflection on our history. How important is it? How does it inform what we consider currently our home? Writers and digital activists are going to be there, and podcasters as well, media enthusiasts, and also just people who enjoy literary discussions. It is important to equip our brain. They say that Just like you work out your muscles in the gym, working out your brain involves reading and also having discussions that are very impactful to your day-to-day activity. The past 3 months, I was actually engulfed in a book from way back in the BCs, before Christ, where it was a book written by Sun Tzu, or it's Sun Tzu. The pronunciation is Sun Tzu, who was a general. It is a myth and a legend. No one can confirm his existence, but his literature exists to guide the Chinese empire towards prosperity in terms of its military activity. A few of those sayings, or a few of those things that Sun Tzu did say there in The Art of War, are very applicable to our very day and our very current life. And that was the book that I had before moving on to the next one, which has been the 5 a.m. Club. I have to be honest that this is a self-improvement book that hasn't worked really well with me, but I'd love to know anyone else who's helpful to you, and if there are any lessons that we could share with each other. I'm halfway through at the moment, but I'd love to know what is your current read, even as we prepare for this Makondo Literary Festival. If you want to attend it, it is going to be free of charge at the Gweti Institute Library at 6 p.m. That is the August 31st, the discussion on disrupting home, reflection on Makondo Literary Festival on that day. So why is knowing our history important, and how much impact does the past have on what we consider our home? This morning, I'm having a discussion with Bernard Odhiambo as well. Given that that is education, educating ourselves, it's also important to look outside. How do we facilitate access to global education through education financing? We're going to have a comparison look between our education system here and also what we are offered at global universities. How does the new funding model in the Republic compare with the old one? And do these opportunities outside of the Republic offer you a chance as an escape from this new funding model? Maybe could be too expensive for you. Should you look outside our borders? How easy is the funding in global university as compared with the new funding model within our institutions? How are the opportunities available? What opportunities are there available to succeed in this kind of global market? Bernard Odhiambo is here. He's a regular, has been on the show before on the newspaper review, but this morning is just a discussion on education, and that is specifically on accessing global education. Disrupting home, that conversation on Makondo Literary Festival will be happening, and the Makondo Literary Festival is actually happening from the 15th to the 17th of September 2023. You can get yourselves tickets. I'll be giving you more information during the show, but that discussion that is prior to this festival on 31st of August, that is 2 days from now on Thursday, I will be there myself, so let's meet there and get to see how our history is impacting what we call our home. Let me go for a break and bring back Bernard for that discussion, so don't go too far.
Reggae music wasn't the most popular music in my neighborhood growing up. And I discovered it on the radio, and from the first moment, just couldn't stop listening.
Many people express themselves through music.
Music is a freedom of expression.
We want the music to reach the people.
They see me smile, but they don't know what I feel inside. Traffic on I bring from the beginning.
I gave you my heart right from the start. Don't break it, Maria. I gave you my heart right from the start. Don't break it. Wanna be my angel? I'm an African.
So when you are sad
listen to this song makes you happy, feel encouraged. The song gives you hope for a bright future.
Message to the world.
All talent, there's always room for improvement.
To have faith.
You can be lazy and wait until it's over, or work hard and, try to be ready whenever there is something to do. We can just be on point.
So we need to join hands and realize that together we can achieve.
For John so loved this world now, he gave his only begotten Son. Whosoever will believe in him should not perish but live. God did not send his Son to come free, condemn this world, but through him this world might be saved. Oh my children, give me
Maelfu na maelfu ya wahamiaji wakiwa na watoto kutoka nchi za Amerika ya Kati wanaendelea kuwasili kwenye mpaka kati ya Marekani na Mexico.
But folks, I'm going. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Ni habari kutoka pembe zote duniani.
Pipopa si kukufuku. Pipopa ni idea.
Sazidi ananyonya, hanyonyi vizuri, anakuwa hayuko comfortable.
Jeshi la Jamhuri ya Kidemokrasia ya Kongo linapambana na waasi wa ADF.
Kwa sasa wanatoa wito kwa mashirika, makampuni na vilevile vituo vya uchukuzi.
Mambo mengi yatakwenda kama yalivyopangwa.
Hapa ni kuna mmoja wa viongozi wa chama cha wavuvi katika eneo hili.
Zaidi tunajaribu kuwapa chanjo ili ina boost ama inanyanyua kinga ya mwili, ndio inaenda kupelekea kupambana na virusi.
Ni duniani leo, Jumatatu mpaka Ijumaa, moja kwa moja kutoka VOA Swahili, Washington DC.
I'm Associate Professor in the Institute of Philosophy of Jagiellonian University in Krakow, Poland, and I'm the main coordinator of the Cafe project, which is being here hosted by Kenyatta University.
My name is Eva Hudoba. I am a project manager in this consortium. Keep watching cutting edge research at Kenyatta University Television.
Adventures across the African continent. See breathtaking wildlife, stunning landscapes, and out of this world technologies. Meet incredible scientists and learn fantastic facts. Explore, discover, be amazed. Be part of the next generation of African change makers. Be a part of ENGEN, Africa's #1 science discovery program. Yay!
We're learning every day.
Ukimwi kwa wengi ni zimwi. Vijana wanaoishi na virusi hivi wanakumbana na mengi.
Imekuwa tu ni matusi. Hata ukipika chakula wengine wana reject, hawataki kula.
Ilikuwa uchungu. I went to an extent yenye nikaandika hadi note, nilikuwa naenda kujiua.
Lakini
I have overcome self-stigma. I have overcome the anticipated stigma. I have overcome the external stigma.
Mradi wa Youth Care Wanaya Kenya unawasaidia vijana hawa kujikubali.
Kimenisaidia sana. It has empowered me.
Ungana nami Mutweri Eliud saa 12:30 jioni na saa 3 usiku tarehe 1 Septemba kwa makala ya Ukimwi si Zimwi.
We are streaming at YouTube, KUTV Kenya Live, and also on social media, on X. Actually, let's stop using Twitter. I've been saying Twitter for a minute. It's called X now, so post your comments and also your feedback on X, and I'll be reading it at KUTV Kenya, at Richard_OKENYE. Welcome to an insightful discussion on a topic that resonates deeply with aspiring students and their families: overseas education. This morning on Biashara Tuesday, we want to explore the theme of facilitating access to global education through education financing. Studying abroad has become a gateway to diverse learning experiences and also to enhanced career prospects. Bernard Odhiambo is here this morning to help us delve into various aspects of this, including comparing local education systems with global universities, understanding the new university government funding model's impact on students' enrollment, which actually enrollment is beginning this day, even with Kenyatta University admitting its latest of students. We're also going to see how we can seize global opportunities in that market, and how do we navigate various financing options which are there available to students. So if you are considering embarking on an international education journey or supporting someone who is, stay tuned here for an insight from an expert himself. He is actually the programs officer at 8B Education Investments Kenya. He'll also be letting us know exactly what kind of opportunities are there with 8B Education Investments. Welcome back, Bernard Odhiambo, to the show.
Thank you so much.
Right. Okay, we'll be having him in a short while for that discussion, so don't go too far. We will be right back.
Empowerment Hub, popularly known as KU Hub, was started 3 years ago to help in incorporating women in several matters such as in decision making, as well as empowering them economically and development-wise. Kenyatta University received a research grant from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation to establish a center whose purpose is to provide evidence to advance women's economic empowerment in Kenya. This evidence will be used by people and organizations that want to improve women, that is, stakeholders such as policymakers, professionals, researchers, national and county governments, non-governmental organizations, and development partners.
Kenyatta University Women Economic Empowerment Hub is advocates for women empowerment through evidence-based research that informs policy. And that's why the hub was formed. Kenyatta University, being an academic and research institution, was through a competitive bidding, was given a grant, a 5-year grant by Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And this grant had those many projects, about 10 or 11 projects. So, and mine was one of them. So we wrote proposals, then we consolidated those proposals, and we had one major proposal for Kenyatta University under We Hub. And so we won the bid. And after winning the bid, then of course the money was released, and we started embarking on conducting research in various aspects of women economic empowerment, research that could inform policy, so that the end result of our findings will be to disseminate those findings to the various stakeholders that are of interest. And after that, we also give policy recommendations, and we could even go a step further by developing policy briefs that we sell to the county or national government.
After discovering the gaps left in empowering women in the society, and also discovering that only a small percentage of women are involved in leadership, this leadership and governance project, led by Professor David Minja, who is the principal investigator, took on the responsibility of conducting research in Bomet County so as to bring about positive change in the lives of women.
In my project, it is very county specific. County specific. So once we finish our research with a certain county, like Bomet now, and we do our report, we go back to that county and organize stakeholders workshop, a validation workshop, which also serves as a workshop for communicating the evidence that we found so that it can inform policy in that particular county. And that's why we are here today. So this week we have been in Bomet, just disseminating that information. Yesterday we were dealing with the CBOs that we dealt with, because our entry point is an NGO called Women Empowerment Link. Women Empowerment Link is operating in Kenya, various parts of Kenya. And Women Empowerment Link wants to understand how their project has impacted women economic empowerment countrywide. So when we developed this proposal, we approached Women Empowerment Link and said, we want to see whether what you're doing is actually impacting on the lives of women in terms of economic and political and governance processes.
The success of this research was achieved by some of the lecturers at Kenyatta University in collaboration with the Women Empowerment Link, WELL, which is a non-governmental organization. These lecturers included Professor David Minja, who is the principal investigator, Professor Elishiba Kimani, the deputy principal investigator, Dr. Edna Moi, Dr. Jackson Mdoe, Dr. Hilda Mahamara, including the WELL representative Julian Ngoiri. According to the researchers' review, WELL imparted Bomet women with different skills, including how to invest in groups, how to make better judgments, how to be better leaders in the family and government, life skills, financial and business skills, and how to represent their opinions and suggestions in the society, among other skills. Selina Rono is a grocery trader. She explains how she has benefited from the WELL project.
Kama hao wametufundisha WELL, tulikuja sasa kuwafunza hata wewe unaweza simama. Hata wewe unaweza simama, you are capable. You are capable. Wewe unasimama, hakuna unafikiria wako na nini? Hata sisi tuko na uwezo, tutaenda. Na watu walisimama nani? Walisimama, tulikuwa napigania mwingine MC alikosa, alipata namba 2. Mwanamke.
Albina Ruto is another beneficiary. She has been a widow for 30 years now. She explains how WELL organization trained her on the effects of female genital mutilation and on the importance of saving. Albina has a daughter living with disability who is also a mother of 3. She admits that after her daughter got married, her husband became violent to a point of beating her. But the training on gender-based violence from WELL organization helped them, and the hostile husband changed into a better husband.
We were trained with WELL jinsi ya kufanya biashara na kuweka akiba, sio ya kufanya biashara na kukula. Unafanya biashara ya kusave kitu kidogo. So tumeanza kwa hiyo group wenye tulifunzwa na WELL, tukajua maana ya savings. So tunaendelea kusave hiyo pesa. Alafu on the first place tulianzia hiyo group kufanya chama merry-go-round ili tusaidie watoto ya 4 months. Tulianzia watoto wa 4 months kuwasaidia kusanyia pesa ya merry-go-round, alafu wachisaidie nao. Baadaye venye 4 months waliendanga shule, tukaanza sisi kusave pesa na tukaendelea na hiyo merry-go-round. Wenye hawana watoto ya 4 months wanachukua hiyo loan kufanyia biashara, not loan, hiyo merry-go-round kufanyia biashara.
WELL imetufundisha vile tuna save pesa na vile tunaomba. Unaomba pesa kulingana na biashara yako. Na vile ukipewa hiyo pesa inafaa uchipange uweke kwa biashara. Ni walitufundisha hivi, hakuna haja uombe pesa labda upewe 50,000 na we mama mboga ukuje ujifalie naye. Walitufundisha tukikupea pesa vile tunafanya biashara, vile unaweka biashara kabisa mpaka unawiri vile unarudisha.
A few kilometers away from Albina's home, we meet Priscilla Kamoyeng, who narrates that after being empowered, she is now a successful farmer. She says her husband has embraced her work after seeing the benefits of the project, especially in the family and society.
Sasa huko kwa leadership tuseme kwa group lazima usikie nini decision ya kila mtu, sio wewe unapitisha tu. Sasa nimeanza kujua mingi vile mimi nakaa tu wanaanza kusema kitu na kudecide.
Later, after their research, the Kenyatta University researchers met other stakeholders and presented their results and evaluation of the research.
I've got other leadership positions yenye nimepata. Nimekuwa leader wa my community based organization yenye niko. I'm the treasurer. And above, even apart from me, niko na wanawake wengine wenye I've been sensitizing with, together with my other TOTs. Wenye wamekuwa na hiyo leadership positions. Like for example, I've got almost 3 women wenye wamepata, mmoja ako saizi chair wa athletic, a sports organization, mwingine ako chair wa dispensary. Unaona, yenye ilikuwa kitambo ilikuwa very hard kupata kwamba ni wanawake wana lead hizo positions.
According to their assessment, most of the women in Bomet County have joined investment groups of between 20 and 30 people. Men have also volunteered to be part of some of those groups and provide support when needed to.
At the beginning, in our initial findings, we found there was a gap in the sense that women were being given all this skill and the men were being left behind. And when we went to collect data and interview community members, even the men said, we would want to be involved in this training. We would want to get these skills so that we support our women with understanding. And I found that to be very positive. They were not feeling threatened, but they were saying, if only we also got this kind of knowledge, governance, leadership, they have not been trained by anybody, we would support our women to be MCAs, we would support our women to be MPs, we would support our women to be governors and everything else that they would want to achieve.
However, a call has been made to stakeholders, experts and policy makers to involve the leadership of Bomet County government in implementing the agenda of empowering women in leadership. Caroline Kimwele, KUTV.
Right, promoting women's economic empowerment through policy reform and research is WeHub, which also has its hub right within Kenyatta University and has received research grant from Bill and Melinda Gates to also generate a body of evidence towards women economic empowerment in Kenya. We're very grateful for that report by Caroline Kimwele here at KUTV's very own newsroom. Thank you for keeping it here on Biashara Tuesday. Now we're heading out to that conversation with Bernard Odhiambo. I was taking a look at diaspora remittances and also a list of acceptance rates in universities abroad. I want you to know that for the topmost universities from MIT to Harvard to Yale, the acceptance rate here is at 4%, and that is as of 2023. They're receiving applications that are numbering to thousands, tens of thousands, yeah, and they only take in 4%. The acceptance rate is that low, but there are opportunities for you to grab and also to present yourself as part of this 4 percentile, right? Kenya's diaspora remittances rose last year by 8.34% to $4 billion in 2022. So $4 billion were remitted into Kenya from diaspora in 2022, closing in on exports, which brought in about 5 billion worth of foreign currency in that same period. So it seems that Kenyans who are abroad have been able to explore opportunities out there in the global market, are able to support this economy and become the second highest remitter of foreign currency into the Republic. So how can you be a part of this if you are a university student, or if you're a student who's seeking to join university, if you're a parent who's seeking to get opportunities in global universities? How do you get financing so that you become a part of this 4 percentile in the top universities? But there are also others which have a higher percentile of acceptance, and also become a part of these Kenyans who are sending us dollars back here into this Republic. I know that Jesse Kimotho will be excited for this conversation. He's one of those who's been on this show and has been a member of the Ivy League universities, having attended Yale University, which also has a 4% acceptance rate. He was able to secure himself an opportunity and get his education on a global platform. Bernard Othiambo from 8B Education Investment is here to tell us how you can use them and also get opportunities even on your own. Welcome to the show, gentlemen.
Thank you so much, Richard, for hosting me again. I know it has been a while, and I'm glad to be here again.
Right.
Yes.
How's it been since the last time we saw each other? I think it was way back before we had the Kenya Kwanza government at the helm of leadership.
Yeah, it has been a while. We were going through a lot as a country, going into elections, but then that is behind us. Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
How are you as a person, though? Business-wise, life?
I want to say that I'm doing well. I am grateful. I thank God. I'm okay in terms of what I do as a professional. Seeing myself touching as many lives as possible in the education space, and also earning a living through entrepreneurship and giving back to my country. It just makes me happy.
Right.
Yes.
You're now the programs officer at 8B Education Investments Kenya.
Yes.
Let us know what you do in your capacity as a programs officer, and what
Yes.
8B Education Investments is all about.
Okay. Okay, Richard, I'll begin by saying that in this space of study abroad and education financing, primarily, or basically, let me say, I'm an education counselor. I interact with many students. I am able to guide them through what courses that are highly marketable, especially now the future and now is STEM, and the universities where they can be able to leverage the applications on, and how to proceed from that point. Of course, I also handle a lot of stakeholder engagements, partnerships, and many things when it comes to putting up everything together locally and connecting with our team in New York to ensure that we are able to support as many students as we can, as many stakeholders as we can, so that collectively we can be able to achieve our objective of having as many students from Africa as possible getting an opportunity to enroll in global universities, and at least get better opportunities.
Right.
Yes.
Now, as we delve into the realm of education overseas, could you maybe shed some light on the fundamental differences between our local education system, particularly universities, and the education that is offered in these global universities?
Okay, I'll begin with local universities. Of course, I would say that our university system is good. I wouldn't say it is bad. I'm a product of
Kenyatta University.
Kenyatta University. That is a local university, one of the best universities in the country. I would say that the education system we have across Africa, not only Kenya, it is that it is knowledge-based and not competency-based. In terms of curriculum. Actually, the curriculum we are using was last revised, I don't know when. So when you compare how well does our universities equip learners with the necessary skills that they need to adapt to in the ever changing global or changing market, I would say that we are still not yet there. We always learn the normal things, and a student has to go out of their way, getting to professional studies, getting to learn a lot for you actually to get there. So I would say that our system, yes, it is good, but a lot has to be done so that we can meet the demands of the ever-changing market and to give solutions, because things keep on changing. What an IT person was doing many years ago and today it is quite different. AI is taking up everything. Things are changing. How are we adapting to this? When it comes to the global perspective, I would say that it is learner and competency-based curriculum, such that what you study in class ideally is what you are expected to execute when you get an opportunity to dispense your knowledge and skills in the market out there.
Okay.
So it gives students better preparation of what to expect in the market, because it is based on the current model that is combined with how the system runs, to ensure that we do not have, or they do not have, raw graduates coming into the field and they cannot create solutions. They are not innovative and they are not productive.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. This is in comparing local and global education, which is giving these students an exposure to global perspective, as you said there, and a very diverse learning environment. How do you think this is impactful for their own career growth and even personal growth?
Richie, I would say that global education exposes a student to diversity, different language, different people, different environment, and this actually enhances their perspective of how things run, and actually they are able to actually be in a position to be people who are creative thinkers. But most importantly, for their own professional development, they are able to at least come up with the current, they are able to meet the global or the current global challenges and come up with innovative solutions because of the environment that they are. At least it gives them, and again, Richie, it's good to embrace diversity.
Always.
Yeah, you can imagine if you are just born and bred somewhere, whichever community it is. Some people in Kenya, they only get an opportunity to interact with others when they get a chance to come to Nairobi. In Nairobi, we have everyone. Others, they studied in their local communities. They went to high school in their local community. They went to university in their local village. So this gives them a clear perspective of how the environment looks like. And then it is a competitive environment that is skills based, because these students are able to actually learn and get global skills. It is competency based. So as a student, you always want to be that person who stands out from the rest. You want to be that person who is innovative enough. You want to be that person who want to bring in new ideas. But most importantly, Richard, I would say, it is also for purposes of having as many Africans as possible in the global spaces of influence.
Right.
Because through that, we are able to change the face of Africa. As much as we are talking about global education, our business is Africa, and we want to support as many Africans as possible to get an opportunity to grow and at least earn a living.
Right.
Yes.
And send us some dollars back, or whatever currency is out there.
Yeah, in terms of remittances, I would say that one of the basic things is that Kenyans abroad or Africans abroad, they send money in terms of remittance that the country use for its growth. Again, they are able to mobilize investment resources. They invest. We have Kenyans investing locally, working abroad, or even investing in the global economy. These are people who are able to manage the global supply chain or the global economy. And with the experience they get, they are also able to at least solve problems for their societies where they come from. So it's a better opportunity.
Right. When we are speaking about this kind of opportunities now, umesema hapo, some people just anazaliwa hapo, anaenda dispensary hapo, anaenda primary school, high school, university.
Yes.
If I can use the example of my hometown, you're born in Kisii Primary, Kisii High School, you go to Kisii University, you work in Kisii town, you never get this opportunity on a global platform. So how do I make myself stand out? Given that, I read earlier there some of those admission rates, it's a very competitive space to get an opportunity to study overseas. How do you make students, or how can students make themselves stand out for this kind of opportunities?
So, Richard, just to maybe give you an example from what you have just said, having born in Kisii, raised in Kisii, that kind of environment, how then do you navigate to be among these 4% who get an opportunity to go and study abroad? Is it something that is achievable? Is it doable? And is it something that a student can be able to manage? Richard, I'll give you an example with our CEO, Dr. Lydia Akemunto Bosires from Kisii. Lydia went to Loreto. She went to Kisii Primary, then proceeded to Loreto High School in Limuru. She had an admission to University of Nairobi, but then was lucky to get a scholarship to the UK for her Form 6, Form 5 and 6, and then proceeded to Oxford University for her bachelor's. So if I look at her story from having been born in Kisii, moving to high school in Loreto, going to the global space, actually with the kind of education system we have in this country, a student is just prepared enough for a rigorous education. It is just that there are basic things that a student needs to possess as a person. First, let me talk about the academic requirements. A student joining a global university, and in this case, I would talk about those going for their postgraduate programs.
Okay.
You need to have at least a minimum of a 3.0, that is on a West certified transcript degree. So 3.0, Richard, is basically second class upper degree, which is 60 points and above, which is a B, which in Kenya is a requirement for an enrollment for a master's degree program. So provided you have that qualification, and then you are expected to at least get your professor to do for you letters of recommendation. You need to develop a strong statement of purpose. Unlike in Kenya, where if I want to study in KU, Kenyatta University, they will only look at my transcript, whether it means the cutoff for a course that I'm looking forward to do in this university. But globally, they also want to know why you have chosen to go to that university.
Okay.
Is there anything that you are going to bring into that university? Are you going to create some change? Is there an opportunity you have seen within that environment that you want to leverage on? And why is it that you have chosen that particular university? So students do not get locked out because they do not have the academic requirements. Students have good grades. It is just on the issues of maybe your personal statement is not honest and not well done. And again, maybe your letters of recommendations are not well done, because from your statement of purpose, the university is able to understand who is Richard coming to the faculty of health sciences or in the education space, education science, all those faculties. They know this student wants to come here to do this course and wants to leverage on this.
And I'm seeing a very key difference there with our local universities. If I can interject just for a second,
yes.
I noticed that when you're joining a local university, if you're coming to Kenyatta University or Kabianga or Embu,
yes.
You're not asked. The university does not get to know you first
Yes,
of all,
yes.
and you're also not asked why you want to go there,
Yes.
or if you have seen any opportunities. And that kind of difference, I think, also helps in facilitating a personal and career growth within a global university.
Very true.
Okay. So if we are speaking about financing at this point now, going university overseas, the first thing that someone thinks, hiyo ni pesa mingi, so hata sijishughulishi nayo.
Yes.
We have a new university funding model in Kenya, which is also bringing its own set of problems. Students
Yes.
not selecting colleges. Placement has been done to a very small percentage of KCSE graduates from last year. So wale ambao wamekuwa locked out, wakiangalia outside wanasema pia huko nje tunajua tu huko ni mambo imechemka zaidi kuliko
Yes,
hapa
yes,
kwetu.
yes,
What
yes.
financing options and what is the pathway to financing an overseas education?
When I talk about financing and overseas education, of course, Richard, you understand that basically many people have been first thinking about their household income. Do we have enough money to facilitate your study and stay abroad? Scholarships. Are you able to get a scholarship to go to your dream university and do your course abroad? So, Richard, we have a challenge in this space because the scholarship has become a lottery, and it is not very easy to get a scholarship. If it is there, it's either partially funded, the household income is insufficient, and for that reason, we are not able to have as many students joining as possible. So we normally have that number one, yes, household income. Are you able to finance yourself? Number two, if you have a scholarship, yes, is it financing your studies? And number three, which students do not have information about, is on the education financing. When I talk about education financing, I'm talking about student loans. Richard, in the US, students finance their studies through education loans. Students in America, they get an opportunity to study through education loans. But why are we having barriers restricting African students from even accessing these financing opportunities for them to achieve their objectives? Richard, African students are considered high risk. And for that reason, they do not get an opportunity even to qualify for a study abroad loan in the first place, because it is believed that they do not have sufficient capacity in terms of even being able to, their employability ratio and whether they can pay back that money and all that. So we have many lenders in the market with their own focus on their homes of origin. I will not talk about some of them for corporate reasons, but primarily the best lender in the market now for financing study abroad to North American universities, which is Canada and US, it's 8B Education Investments. This is because its primary objective or core objective, or as the reasons as to why the company was initiated, was for African students to get an opportunity to go and study abroad. So this is an African product, and we are able to support as many brilliant students as possible to go and do their studies abroad. And again, Richard, what people do not realize is that brilliance is everywhere. I believe that we have brilliant students in Africa, in Kenya, who are able to go do their postgraduate programs, go to the market, create a change, and even get better opportunities out there. So 8B education financing eliminates that barrier. So that if, Richard, you have mobilized your financing in terms of your family contribution, either your sponsorship or somewhere, then you can apply for your tuition fee and sorry, I didn't say this, in global universities for postgraduate programs, in North American universities, the tuition rate starts from around 28,000 USD to about 40,000 USD. And 8B gives a student a loan of 50,000 USD per academic year and 100,000 USD for a lifetime. And going for a postgraduate program, which is basically 2 academic year. So if you have mobilized a few resources to cater for your visa and your air ticket, and then we give you money to pay for your tuition and living expenses, then you are good to go. And on the other aspect of now we have assisted you to go and study, how do we support you? How do we help you to get a global job out there? 8B also has a human resource department that primarily deals with job placements for our partner organizations and companies in the US. So a student going to a university doing their postgraduate studies is advised to get through a work-study program and then exits to what is called a training program, And the students we are supporting are students in STEM programs. Students in STEM program in our universities in the US, which are more than 450 plus universities, they are given an optional training program. Their visa actually extends to about 3 years post-study program. So they're able to at least get an opportunity to work and learn that job which they are looking at.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, we are still on education financing. Let's turn our eyes to what is happening within our backyard, and then we'll have a look at how now these university students abroad can succeed in the global market. Yes. When we take a look at the implementation of the new government funding model for universities, how do you foresee, first of all, let's see the comparison. What is happening right now with the Kenya University education system in terms of funding as compared to your time? I believe that is when the old funding model was in there. What is happening, and how is this affecting student enrollment?
Richard, as a product of the old funding model, I would say that it looked better because, you know, you would get help. Help would pay at least 8,000 to your tuition fee, and then the remaining amount would be deposited to your account to cater for your living expenses, accommodation. So your family could raise just, or even help entirely would just pay your tuition fees. So you would not have many problems achieving your studies in the university. But, and then the old model, primarily when it was done many years ago, it was based on specific factors such as the size of the university, the population then, and then there was a flat rate for all university. So they just said that out of this percentage, a student would just pay maybe 28,000, that is a tuition fee for a whole academic year. For KU students who are paying like 18,500 a semester, and then minus accommodation. So, and then things were a little bit cheaper for that kind of model. Now, the problem that we have, Richard, is that the government did not do adequate public participation on the new funding model, because that is the reason why we have a shocker on the students' placements, or the students applying for courses for COOPS placement in our universities. Because what we saw in the newspapers is just boom, universities were able to actually give us their tuition fees. You could see a course going for 600 and something thousand for an engineering course. The list would be like 400,000, and you look at all those crazy figures. So any responsible parent who could not want to lie to their children, looking at the harsh economic times, would just advise my daughter, my son, I cannot afford to take you to school now. You can see how crazy those figures are.
That's true.
And then 50% of actually those who qualified, 50% of those who had C+ grade and above who qualified for university placements are the ones who applied. 50% did not apply because of that shocker. And then after that is when now we saw the new funding model that the government was really trying to explain itself that now this one is learner or student-centered rather than the other one. This would assist universities not to go into debts, because we'll be funding universities, government funding universities according to the students they have enrolled, but taking into effect their level of need or their unit cost.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. I see. Now, which gives the evaluation of, or the feasibility of pursuing higher education abroad, a chance at this point, for the students now who haven't been able to enroll in local universities? How do they weigh in now the affordability and viability of education abroad? Is now, can 8B investments say now, if you didn't, if you are not able to go and fund yourself through education in a local university, it is now possible for you to do it abroad?
Thank you so much, Richard. For the students who have not enrolled in the universities, I think I would clarify that 8B as a company, we are financing students for postgraduate programs currently in Africa, but I believe in future we'll be able to go into that. But again, we also finance students on transfers. If you have students in second year want to finish their bachelor's degree program in the US be able to finance that student. But again, I think the government just need to be sincere because education in this country has become so expensive. At some point, I could see some people storing and telling me that, Bernard, education system, looking at the new tuition fees, it has not only punished the poor, but it has made it difficult even for the rich to access education.
Okay.
So that was after which now you were able to see explanations. This is even more cheaper. You will not be paying at all.
Yeah.
And then we are seeing crazy. I mean, assuming rich, you are taking your son to school. And then a student has both parents and all that, and then maybe your household income is not that sufficient, and you are expected to pay, if 50% is loan. We are having a scenario whereby a student will be graduating and having like 2 million to pay as loan, as opposed to just a normal 240,000
help
loan
right,
on a maximum of 60,000 per academic year, given to a student for support. So I think there should be more public participation on this, but it should just be that if we are talking about needy students, university education should be made affordable to everyone, whether I am needy, whether I am not. And then what is making it difficult even, or it is killing the morale for even students to pursue this area is because, yes, I am going to pay that much. Richie, you have stories of many first-class degree students in this country who have committed suicide because there are no jobs.
A classmate of mine just did a few months ago, actually. It was a trending story, first-class graduate from Kenyatta University. And that is due to a lack of job opportunities out there.
Yeah, that is true. And as a testimonial, because it is something in the public domain, you even saw the deputy president of this country at a graduation ceremony, Jake Ward, said that there are no jobs.
There are no jobs. Right.
We will create those jobs with you.
Right.
So, so I think if you have an opportunity to go and study abroad, because the easiest way to go abroad is through education. Just organize yourself to get an opportunity to go study and work abroad.
The easiest way to go abroad is through education. I think that's a very quotable statement here on the show. Now, looking at this kind of situation that students and families find themselves in, how can they strike a balance between choosing the right educational opportunity and also managing their financial aspects? Ultimately, this, of course, is to ensure a successful and fulfilling international education experience. How do they strike that balance now?
Richard, I would say that for our families, because nobody is financially okay or financially well in mind, because education is the most expensive thing in the country or just even in the world. And if you talk about striking a balance between how do I manage my finances as a parent vis-a-vis financing my son or my daughter to go and study abroad, I would say, Richie, it's not easy to manage. Actually, I would give out everything for my son or my daughter to go and study abroad. But the best thing about studying abroad is that it has high return on investment. You will pay all those dollars, get an opportunity to do your master's program, get an opportunity to work. And within a short time, Richie, we have, when a student is enrolled for their master's program in the US or in Canada, they have an opportunity to do what is called a work-study program. So a student has a maximum of at least 12 hours, let me say 12 hours a week to work. So if you have an opportunity to work at least 12 hours a week, earning a few dollars, that means you're able to sustain yourself. By the time you get to graduate, get to that opportunity because you're a professional. And the universities where our students are going to are the universities that give students the best training that meets the industrial demand in the global market.
Okay.
So we are sure you're able to be in a position to get an opportunity to at least dispense your skills out there.
So let's maybe wrap it up at this point, Bernard, with an outlook first on what kind of skills and someone should have to leverage on a global market for success. You know, once they're out there, what should they have in mind, keep in mind, ndio tusikutume tena urudi kuja kubangaiza na sisi kwa bench pale Ruiru, to make sure ukienda you are also, you know, accessing and succeeding in this global stage. And then as well, you know, you told me you're specializing mostly on the global north. Why is that specifically?
Why
you know,
North
when we are
America?
saying study abroad, why not Zimbabwe? Ama Zimbabwe see abroad? Why not Indonesia? You know, maybe the kind of different advantages there are with different stages globally as we then wrap it up.
Okay. So if I talk about skills, and I would maybe talk about why is 8B financing a student for a postgraduate program?
Okay.
A student who is going for a master's degree program is a student who has decided what they want to do in life. This student has identified an area which they believe they are passionate about and they can earn value or create value out of it. Again, I would say that when it comes to the global skills, Richard, the future, just like I said, now, tomorrow, in future, is STEM. A student in STEM program cannot tarmac out there. There are many opportunities for students in STEM program. When I talk about STEM, those are students in science, students in engineering, students in health sciences, students in education, science, students in business, that is finance, accounting, mathematics, physics. These students, they have better opportunity to actually go and work there, because it is not just going to study. What course are you going to study?
Okay.
Does it have market? Or are you in a position to do something that add value at the end of the day? So I would say that the students are prepared on different stages. Yes, you are in class learning, but you are out there on a work study program.
Right.
You finish your program, you are going into what is called internship. Of course, your student visa extends to about 3 years, 24 to 36 months. And then you can be able to work on your work permit, get to work and all that.
Okay.
And again, when you talk about student loans, 8B has the affordable student loans that students can be able to leverage on. Because you can imagine I'm giving you 50,000 USD per academic year, maybe you borrow maybe only 80,000 or 40,000 USD, and the interest is minimal. You're only expected to pay like 12.4595 of the total principal amount that we gave you. But you have an opportunity to finish, go work and do all that. It's a better opportunity that students need to consider 8B as an option for financing their study abroad.
Okay.
But basically, just like I began this show by saying that Africa is our business, Richard, the reason why we have, just like we said, the reason why we have fewer enrollment of students in global universities is because of lack of financing and those other things. 8B comes in to fill that gap. That means that we are going to have as many students studying abroad as possible. Just like now we are processing student loans for students going for their postgraduate programs in September this year. And I can see the number is rising and all that. So Africa can be able to maximize on human capital when we have as many people as possible going to study abroad, at least to be in a position to make Africa an equal player in the in the 21st century.
Okay.
Because that is where we are all headed. We want to have an Africa with a high rate of literacy levels, an Africa with many people who are innovators, people who are creative, so that we are not only building job seekers, but we are also having innovators who are able to create wealth, investment, and create job opportunities both locally and abroad for us to succeed in that perspective.
All right, so for a student who's watching us right now, maybe you want to finish it up with where they can get 8B and what they need to be aware of as they prepare to reach out to 8B Investments to pursue that path on overseas education.
Okay, Richard, I would say just on a quick one, for students getting to learn and apply for 8B education student loan, you just go to www.8b.africa, and then you go to financing, apply for a loan, and then within 2 to 3 days we are able to get a feedback whether you qualify for a loan. We process it to get an opportunity to go and actually study abroad. So everything about us is in our website, 8b.africa, or www.8b.africa is our website. You can Google our website, get to learn more about our programs. Just like I said, we also have universities we are working with in our website. So you are able to look at the universities, you are able to actually do your research on where you want to go to, which one best fit your interest. Our financing model is there, you're able to look at it. And we also give, Richard, we don't charge students for our services. We give them free counseling because remember, integrity is the most important thing.
Okay.
It is more of a charitable thing to have as many students as possible getting an opportunity to go and actually study abroad.
Okay.
So we will always be there to assist them anytime. Richard, I'm always there. They can always find me because I'm the one doing all that, and be able to assist as many students as possible. And I'm glad in our pipeline we have many students tapping into the opportunity, and I believe that at the end of the day we'll be able to solve the issue of the enrollment rate, but we're also able to solve the issue of Africa also shaping itself to be in a position to be in the global spaces of influence.
Okay, yes. HB.Africa, that's what you should be Googling as we are speaking here. So you can check out the website, browse hundreds of scholarships, and also compare eligibility to different loans in minutes. When you're ready, you apply fair and flexible loans. You also get to navigate and select the best fit university and the right program for you. 8B was recently featured on a fellow news channel, which is CNN. So you can go check out the clip there and see what the founder had to say there. A comment from Andrew Onyango. Glad to see you there, Senior Bernard.
Thank you. Thank you, Andrew.
Okay, so thank you also, Andrew, for tuning into the show. Please stay here with us as we let off Bernard off air. We are going to have more conversations happening here. But asante sana, Bernard, for creating that.
Thank you so much, Richard.
Right.
It is always a pleasure coming here whenever invited for an interview.
Right, next time we speak here, I'll be on my way to get a flight for my postgraduate.
Yes.
Through 8B.
Yeah, Richard, you should come for your postgraduate studies in the US.
Definitely.
The sooner, I think it should be as soon as possible. I'll be able to assist you how you can get that.
Right, you see, guys, it's as easy as that. So check out 8b.Africa and let us know. This interview will be later on YouTube so that you can continuously access that information as you apply for overseas education. Taking a short break on Biashara Tuesday. We're back still. A conversation on climate summit. Next month, Kenya is hosting the Africa Climate Summit in Nairobi. The host president, President William Ruto, is the chairperson of that in the African Union. Here this morning is Dennis Kimani, the Youth Green Society chairperson. He is organizing a climate event earlier on September 1st as we prepare for that other summit happening, and we'll be receiving delegates and other dignitaries from all over the world and especially in Africa. So stay tuned for that. Ask me any questions that you have. I'll be forwarding them to Dennis Kimani when I am right back.
Kutoka kuwa jamii ya kuhamahama na sasa kujumuisha kilimo katika mitindo yao ya maisha. Kwenye toleo la kaunti ya Narok, Hii ni Boresha Kilimo, kwani afya bora ni kilimo bora.
Kwani kilimo ndicho huboresha maisha.
Are you an aspiring media practitioner, a graduate, or you just want to advance your skills in television production? Then welcome to Kenyatta University, where education meets innovation. KUTV, the premier university television station in Kenya, is now offering short courses in TV studio, field technical operations, and video editing. Through these courses, you will acquire hands-on skills on camera operations, media production, lighting techniques, audio-visual editing, and sound and visual control, and how to operate key equipment in modern TV control room. Enroll today at KUTV and discover your full potential in cutting-edge TV broadcasting. Graduates of these courses will receive professional certificates. For more information, visit our offices at KUTV Studios or call us on 020-870-4252 or 020-870-4255 or SMS us on 0739-110-544. KUTV, a new experience.
Ukimwi kwa wengi ni zimwi. Vijana wanaoishi na virusi hivi wanakumbana na mengi.
Imekuwa tu ni matusi, hata ukipika chakula wengine wana reject, hawataki kula.
Ilikuwa uchungu. I went to an extent yenye nikaandika hard note, nilikuwa naenda kujiua.
Lakini
I have overcome self-stigma. I have overcome the anticipated stigma. I have overcome the external stigma.
Mradi wa Youth Care wa Naya Kenya unawasaidia vijana hawa kujikubali.
Kimenisaidia sana. It has empowered me.
Ungana nami Mutweri Eliud saa 12:30 jioni na saa 3 usiku tarehe 1 Septemba kwa makala ya Ukimwi si zimwi.
Focus on Health is a show that creates awareness on matters health and informs you on various diseases, their causes, treatment, prevention, coping, and support. So join me, Bari Michelle, every Thursday at 7:30 p.m. only on KUTV. You can also follow us on our social media platforms at KUTV Focus on Health on Facebook and also on YouTube, and Health Focus on Instagram, because your health is your wealth. Stay safe and stay healthy.
Repossessing your property, intellectual or material.
This and more, only on Law Matters.
Fashionistas, get ready to level up your style game. Tune in to Fashion Diaries every Monday at 8 p.m. with me, Ashley Asach. From Kia Hills to split suits, we've got the trends that will make you shine. Don't be left out. Join us for a fashion-filled adventure.
loving husband and father. Nothing is too good for my daughter. An ambitious businessman with a dark secret. A girl with a whole life in front of her, plunging into a marriage that she did not choose with the wrong man.
I'm not ready to marry Zema.
But who is the right one? I love Nambi. A rock star, living the dream. But the babes keep chasing me, Agisa. It ain't easy being famous. Especially with so many glamorous women around. A woman hell-bent on revenge.
He will pay.
Seductive, dangerous. She is a predator. Everybody needs it. Everybody wants it. They will do anything to get it. Love and wealth.
Hello, everybody. I'm Nena.
And I'm Gigi.
Welcome to Engine Season 2.
The place to find out about the world we live in
and the creatures that we share our planet with.
Join us on the most exciting adventures across the African continent.
See breathtaking wildlife, stunning landscapes,
And out of this world technologies.
meet incredible scientists,
And learn fantastic facts.
explore, discover, be amazed.
Part of the next generation of African change makers.
Be a part of Engine, Africa's #1 science discovery program. Yay!
We're learning every day. Engine leads the way.
Our county has an effective waste management system when it comes to household garbage collection. But for agricultural waste is largely left uncollected. So we saw that as a health hazard, and we decided to participate in environmental sanitation through collection of that waste and bringing it to our recycling ground, where now we take all that crop waste and animal manures, the different types of animal manures, and we take them through a composting process, which we call windrow composting process.
All right, we're live on air. 5 years, 328 days, 1019. I don't know what that one is. 62% youth feel eco-anxiety. And then here we have percentage at the top, global renewable energy. Very readable. Let's change the colors a bit here. Right? Yeah, nice. Look at that. Oh, whoops. Let's get back on. So this is a climate clock. Yeah, and it's been brought here by Dennis Kimani. He is the YGS chairperson. For the first time, we have evidence that Deno is actually working on something out there with regards to climate. But we have more evidence. It's just that now we have a physical presentation on what he has been working on and what he has been preaching on in terms of climate action. We're going to understand exactly what this is. It's a climate clock. We're going to get an understanding of it and also other discussions that are happening here as we prepare for the climate summit that Kenya is poised to host next month, this September. Dennis Kimani, welcome back to the show.
Thank you very much, Richard.
Right.
I'm so much privileged always to be at KUTV.
Right.
I'm thankful always.
Always happy also to have you here. I have a grab from the Daily Nation, I believe, from the August 17th of 2023.
Yes, yes.
I'm sure you're aware of this.
Yes.
It's an image of you and kids here. Environmental conservation, making a difference through art and peer-led awareness campaign. So you pictured here interacting with children at Children's Environment Rescue in Ruiru on this August 17th, 2023. Can you tell us a little bit about what this was, this Children's Environmental Rescue activity that you were doing?
Thank you again, Richard, for the green morning. The review was put yesterday on the newspaper by the Daily Nation, yesterday on 28th. We had an event here at Ruiru with the Children's Rescue Team. This is a group of teachers who are previously they were being called Teachers Environmental Rescue, but they changed their name to Children's Environmental Rescue. The chairperson is a member in City Park CFA, so we have been working together. She's the lead in the children's environment. So in that bulletin, what we are doing, we are trying to work with waste, basically the plastic, making murals, making different, adding value to waste. Because what we can say as we're ahead of the climate, the African climate, is that we have a lot of problems in ensuring that our waste are well managed because of lack of adding value to the waste. Even Nairobi, the dysfunctional waste management system is because of lack of adding value to waste. And with that, the Daily Nation also made us very happy for featuring us yesterday in that story.
Nice.
As we teach children, because they are the generation of tomorrow.
Okay, all right. That happened, and congratulations, of course, for that kind of activity. You're passing this on to the next generation, even before our generation grasps the importance of climate action. The Africa Climate Summit is happening from the 4th to the 6th of September. We'll get into the details of that and also how prepared we are as a nation. But first, let's get this mystery out of the way. For those who are watching us, bado wanangoja kujua tunafanya nini na hii burungo hapa hivi on set. So don't know if you can explain to us. Let me I think you've given me enough directions on how to operate it, so I'll operate it as you explain to us. So I'm turning it on at the moment, and it's displaying there on the screen climate. It has changed again there. Okay, so let's start with this one. 5 years, 328 days. What is that? And the timeline?
Okay, the clock has 2 sessions.
Okay.
It has the red and the blue.
Okay.
The red is what we call the time frame or the deadline. And the blue one is the lifelines or the actions.
Okay.
The time frame on this clock is stagnant, or it is consistent, or it is what you are saying, it is not changing.
Okay.
It is the same, but it is changing within 1 second by second by second until 5 years are finished.
What are these 5 years?
5 years are the time IPCC data. Through the IPCC data, the Intergovernmental Panel of Climate Change, they come up with the time that we are supposed to limit carbon emissions to 1.5 degrees in the global temperatures.
Okay.
So they are saying we only left with 5 years, and that time that is left there, so that we can reduce our emissions to 1.50 to meet the net zero carbon emissions.
So we have 5 years to achieve
300
that.
and something, it is recorded there.
5 years, 328 days.
Exactly.
For us to get to that 1.5.
Yes.
And this 10, 14, 11 looks like 10 hours and 14 minutes.
No, actually that because the clock came from America, the time zone is different.
Okay.
So what the time zone in which you are here, it is different than the clock, because we are using the American. Even when you are going to learn about it, you'll see that even the figures that are put there, they're in dollars form, because the inventors of the clock, Andrew Boyd, is from America, New York.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Below there's a blue screen. There's it's all a screen, but there's blue information passing there, and I'm trying to read it in a way that I can still maintain here. So deforestation in Brazil, in Brazil's Amazon, right?
Yes.
What information is that that is going by?
As when you started, you said that the clock has 2 places: the time, the deadline, and the lifeline. Lifeline is what you can do. like you in the morning, you could have chosen not to take a vehicle and come cycling.
Okay.
That is your own lifeline. That is your own action. Because the car will produce CO2, but the bicycle will make you more healthy. So you have already done something as little it is for climate. So therefore, the lifelines are what countries are doing. Like now in Kenya, we had the login, we have the sustainable waste management bill, we have the climate change bill, we have the risk disaster bill. All of those are our lifeline here in Kenya. What we have done for the action towards climate change.
And it's actually really good information. I'm reading here what the US has committed towards coastal climate action. Seeing what Brazil has launched as grants for poor families towards protecting the climate. This is a source of motivation as well, right?
Now that when I was at the launch, I was hearing that you are so the opportunities was there at the global north. And there were things that people wanted to go to there, but I don't know if in my show I'm coming to bash and say the global north is supposed to compensate us according to this.
Okay.
So the previous show was supposed for us to be happy. I think this one is a little bit of bashing them.
Okay. So in the previous conversation, which we just had, just to put it into context to someone who's joining, we were having a discussion on opportunities abroad, right? And we were painting a very nice picture of why people should be out there. But you think the global north owes us something?
Yes.
In terms of climate, how is that?
So I will let you the upper one.
All right.
Keep twisting until we reach there. There's somewhere that we'll go and find.
Are we there yet?
Not there yet. We have trillions. Somewhere we have trillions.
Trillions.
Go again.
I'll see millions.
G7. Not there.
Oh, we just passed it. The trillion.
32 trillion.
Yes,
right?
That's it.
$32
trillion.
As you all know about the G20s, right? G20s are the well-developed economies. Those are the countries at the global north. But they owe us a lot of money. In this clock we are seeing, it is $32 trillion. This is the amount of money that is supposed to come to Nairobi come September 4th. The global north are supposed to compensate us with 32 trillion shillings.
Okay.
For their loss and damage. They have really.
They have contributed.
Yeah, they're contributors because of their economies. The economies are very big, and the global south are us, Africa, Brazil, Argentina, countries that have less developed. They are still on farming, and this climate change is affecting the production of the farms. So therefore, the global south is supposed to be compensated by the G20 at the global north.
So we are experiencing the effects of the activities of some countries out there, which now do owe us. And I'm guessing this is what the president has actually been saying, that in terms of even what we are contributing towards climate action, it shouldn't be at par. We are actually contributing more as compared to the countries which are the ones contributing to the effects of climate change. The number keeps changing, right?
Yes.
What is that?
The climate change.
Deni inaendelea kupanda.
Deni inaendelea hata sasa tukiendelea, the deni is going on. So it will never reach an end. Because even now global the change in climate change is happening. Even now we are still polluting. So that the number it keeps. That's why even if you have seen me at the socials, I was saying the clock keeps ticking. As much as people are talking, we have the assemblies, we have the youth assemblies, we have the summits, we have the BRICS, Russia and South Africa coming to talk about these matters. The thing is the clock
is ticking. Whether we are having summits or not.
Yes.
And it's actually a literal clock here we have, So it is ticking and we can see it. So that's a screen on the amount of money that we are owed by the G20. Is there another screen that I can go to?
We have the G7. You can search for the G7.
Okay. Yeah, we are there. G7.
Yes. The G7 now are the superpowers. The most powerful: America, England, UK,
Russia.
They owe us $12 trillion.
And counting. Because it's going there. G7 loss and damage. It's a lot of money due to their contribution in terms of the damage that they're contributing to the globe, right? So that's the screen we have there. There's another one. Do you have
you
any
can
other?
go to the indigenous land to protect. That is a very good thing to figure out.
Okay.
Before you go to the youth.
Right. This is exciting. I feel like a child. 25% in women.
There.
That's the one. All right.
Now you see, we are also calculating the land the land that has been lost, the loss and damage on the traditional land.
Okay.
Like I will talk about my place where I'm designated, City Park Forest. City Park Forest is a traditional forest. It is a cultural forest. Why? Because City Park came from the traditions of the Agikuyu. Actually, they're the ones who donated the land to the white settlers for all that has been happening. Again, City Park being a culture, we have the war veterans graves, we have the first and the second vice president of Kenya, the first Kenyan martyr, Piogama Pinto, buried there. So this is a traditional indigenous land. Therefore, with this one, we are calculating. If you have come to City Park, you have seen how loss and damage has made it into a sewer line. The Kibagare River is just I call it Nairobi Sewerage Company because it's not now nothing can survive there. Even you cannot even want to. It is stinking. It's
not good for consumption or any other use.
So this clock also calculates the lands that in the world that are supposed to be reclaimed back, including City Park.
I see. Anything that is important that we can also take a look at?
We have the women percentage in Parliament fighting for climate change. It was somewhere there. You passed it.
Mental health hotline. That's a bit different. 62% youth feel
eco-anxiety.
Eco-anxiety. What is eco-anxiety?
Eco-anxiety is the anticipation that our ecology will be fine. Because we are the ones who are using it. We are the ones who are celebrating the environment more than any other person. So the anxiety that how shall it be after 5 years? If the clock is giving us a deadline of 5 years, what shall happen after the 5 years? These are things that we'll do about adaptation and resilience. What after the 5 years elapse, what else shall we do? Yes, that is the anxiety we are being put in.
Do you know this is information? I hope you don't sleep with this clock in the house. It will give me a lot of eco-anxiety. Taking a look at the numbers, the contributions, the damages, and the losses. I have one question though. Why does it have to be a clock like this? Why not a clock on the wall?
There are different shapes. According to different. Actually, you can import such of this for yourself, or even for Kenyatta University, or even for the KU TV show. You can put it somewhere here. You just go to the website. It will be shipped to you if you request for one, and then you become a climate ambassador.
Yes. As constant reminder, just to put it somewhere there, as a constant reminder of what we are staring at as humanity in general. We have an Africa Climate Summit that is happening from the. Let me just maybe reduce this to. Then we'll get back to it later. The Africa Climate Summit is happening here in Nairobi at KICC from the 4th to the 6th.
Yes.
You've said rightfully there, whether we have summits, we have Paris Agreement here, we have others talking there, G20 summits, BRICS conventions. The clock is still ticking.
Yes.
Are you enthusiastic about having the Africa Climate Summit hosted right here at your own backyard?
Yes, I am happy as a Kenyan because what I can say, because Kenyans will have some money. Dignitaries coming from all over the world means that Nairobi will be busy and business will be booming, even the smallest business. But for the summit itself, what is going to be talked here, I still feel like it is a lot of ad hoc jackism, because we have had COP26, we have had COP27, we have had the Glasgow Declaration, we have a lot of places that we have gone talking.
Now we have an upcoming Nairobi Declaration.
You see, a Nairobi Declaration. What I think is that it's good the government took the initiative to host it, but it is a meeting that it is a joyrider meeting for other countries. People in America will be joyriding to come to Kenya for a trip, because as long as the loss and damage would be done, there's no talk that is happening.
Okay.
As long as the funding and the compensation won't be done. It will be delayed more. We'll wait for us to go to Dubai in the COP28 so that they can talk again about these matters. We are not doing anything.
It's like we're looking forward to summits every time. It's become an exciting event to attend.
Yes.
Okay.
What I feel like, I think even the better thing is for them to come to our event at City Park so that we can clean up the river, we can collect the waste, we can plant trees, we can teach children, we can try involve the street families at City Park so that we can conserve City Park, and at least we see we are doing something.
Right.
Being in the boardrooms does not do anything to climate change at this time, because we talked at Glasgow, we talked at Egypt. What else is there to be talked about? Give us our money,
right?
Or else stop the loss and damage. Actually, this clock, we don't say that. I will pose that question to you. We have seen $32 million in trillion, right? $32 trillion, right?
$2 trillion.
Yes.
Right.
Yesterday we are trying to see that we are fighting. Even KPLC is not going to install CIUs to affordable housing houses because of the dollar inflation. But the question is, do you think we need these dollars?
What we need is action, or what we
are
need
right
is money?
on that.
Okay.
Do we need the money? Or
yes, of course, because I think funding climate action might be quite expensive. Is actually quite expensive.
Let me pose another question. For an instance, you live in Turkana. You have lost a cow.
Okay.
The cow is recorded, and the data is at IPCC that Kenya lost 10,000 cattle. 2 are yours. When this stock is at ASC at KICC, will you be paid?
Probably not.
So what are you supposed to tell the leaders, the policy makers who are coming to Nairobi?
Okay, that's quite a dilemma there.
Yes.
What do we do then with that money?
As environmentalists, you are saying we don't want your compensation. Stop the loss and damage. Because if my family member dies on a floods or drought,
no one is going to compensate me for that adequately.
Loss of life will never be compensated, even with how much money you give us. Africa and the global south are suffering because of global north. But they think what we need is money. We don't need money. What we need is them to stop the loss and damage.
Okay.
Yes, we don't need their money.
Right. And to begin with how people can stop the loss and damage, I see here you've invited us for a very exciting event that you have prepared. And this is happening on September 1st,
yes,
I believe. Please let us know what the Youth Green Society and the City Park Community Forest Association, Save the Earth, and Tamara KYA Foundation, and other youth groups. What are you organizing on the 1st of September?
Like we did in the COP26, we did a local action march. As people were in Glasgow, as we are here in Kenya doing an action march, this time we are going to cut and raise the African Climate Summit. We are not happy about just going to the summit because we were invited and accredited, but what we think is that actions are things that we do on a daily basis. So for us, Youth Green Society, together with the Community Forest Association of City Park, we are going to have a curtain raiser event at City Park. This will just be collecting views of the people who cannot afford to reach KICC because it's a high-end meeting. So therefore, even the local people, the street families who live in City Park, the families, the women at the market, people who use the City Park mini field to play, children, and even any person who won't be able to go to KCC, we are welcoming them to this event so that they can send the sentiments to us, and those people who are going to the forum at KCC on 4th, they can go and represent them. So I think that it is just a message carrying and bringing together so that we can involve everyone including the local people.
Okay. And that's happening on 1st of September. Everyone is invited to join in, of course, at City Park for that kind of activity, actionable at a very individual level, rather than, the speeches and the long discussions happening at the summit. Are you attending the summit though?
Yes, I'm accredited. I will be there.
Okay.
Yes.
What do you expect from the summit? Other than, of course, as you said, there are discussions and boardroom meetings and talks and all that. Is there any positive thing that you think will come out of this summit?
Yes, we have attended on 24th and 25th. We were at Sarit. We sent even our sentiments through the Youth Climate Festival that was organized at Sarit Center. We have tried to put our, like I'm saying, for the event, it is just carried of views so that we can present them to the government at KCC. We have second and third, we are also going for the youth assembly, which is led by Elizabeth Wathuti, again to send our sentiments. And the biggest thing that we are sending to the table is that we have a climate fund, funding that will come in form of a grant, so that the most innovative youths, they can go out with these funds and scale up right? Their ideas, you see. Yeah. So a lot of youth have ideas, but they don't have the funding and the grants. So we're asking the government and the whole of the COP20, the cooperative parties, to come up with a fund that is flexible, even for the most indigenous or the local person, youth at home or in our community, can be able to apply and send their ideas for scaling up.
Right. Yes. When before we wrap up, when someone takes a look at you being very passionate with matters of climate action, why should they care?
I will just say what Wangari Maathai said. Actually, Wangari Maathai was not a politician. She was a passionate environmentalist, but environmental matters must be pushed by policymakers. And that's why even as we are calling on the African Climate Summit is all about calling the policymaker to act in time. It's because like the law that we had, the ban on the login, it is our policymakers that put it there. As the only thing that we can do is just to follow up or tell them here is not okay, change it to this one. So therefore, myself, I think that the only resource that me and you share is the environment. Otherwise, we can never share anything else. It is the air we breathe in. Therefore, my passion in environment comes in because we think that the environment is the only resource we care about. You cannot give me money, but you can give me an opportunity. And opportunity is environment. So therefore, I request every person in the community with this little saying, a man is a man, and therefore an action is an
action.
As far as it is little or large. Yes.
Okay. We spoke there about Wangari Maathai, and on the screen it is now displaying 26.5% women in parliament. What is this statistic and why is it important?
This data comes from the IPCC, the Intergovernmental Panel of Climate Change. This data says that in Kenya we are saying the third gender rule.
Third gender rule,
yes.
Right. Two-thirds gender rule.
This means that the number of women in parliament advocating for global climate change and mitigation, it is at 26%, but it should be increasing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's information. There's more on this clock that you can order for yourself. But there's a question they know now. Since we're speaking about climate action, what materials have gone into making this? Is it rechargeable? Is it renewable? Does it also consider, climate action? Tell us more about its composition.
The frame itself, the body, is made from bamboo.
Okay.
Yes, so that is eco-friendly. I think what is inside, we have a battery. It is chargeable.
Okay.
So it's also renewable. Actually, you have forgotten to talk about the renewable energies. So having a battery means that it stores some energy.
Okay.
You don't have to throw the battery after you use, so it's renewable.
Okay. I've actually gotten that global renewable energy percentage there on the screen.
Yes.
Okay.
Transition. Actually, Kenya is ranked the best in transition to renewable.
It's also going up. Isn't that a good sign?
Yeah, it's going up. It's okay. That is a good sign.
Okay. This is the only one we want to go up. Yeah. All right.
Again, the last question you have asked is
whether it's renewable if it takes care of matters of climate action.
It takes care of matters of climate action, and I will help you. I will need you to customize your data.
Okay,
now
tell
that
me.
You're in KUTV, you can put your message that you want to send for climate action.
Okay.
Yes.
How do I do that?
You just press somewhere there.
Okay. I just press.
Yes.
What do I press?
One of the
knobs. I press them in.
Yes.
Okay.
Scroll it down.
I scroll it down.
Using the same.
I use the same. Okay.
Yes.
There you
Going
go.
down. Down kabisa.
Sorry. I was a slow student, so give me some time there.
I don't think so. With your games that you beat me every day.
Oh man,
go down. It's supposed to go somewhere customized.
Okay. We'll continue trying it as you tell me what it will do. Oh, okay.
There.
Mkulima anajua jembe yake.
Customize message.
All right, customize
so
message. Okay. So this is where we can create a message that will display here.
Yes, it will display there. Now you can write for KUTV.
Okay.
Yes.
I wish we could do it easily, but because we don't have time, I think we'll do it after the break, or you can be doing it and then we will show it later on, right? So for this clock, you said people should check out what website and get it.
The climate clock. Actually, this is just a portable one to show people around, but you can download yours from the Play Store.
Or you can have a soft climate clock, a soft copy of the climate clock.
It's available, the climate clock website.
All right. So check that out and keep tabs on the happenings of the Republic. How do we go back to the original screen so that we can close up with a very
go
nice
there again with the back.
Okay. I'll let you take us back there. But this is information for you now. Once more, you can meet Deno and the Youth Green Society on September 1st, where they'll be doing this event at City Park. You can join them in preparation for that climate week that is happening from the 4th to the 6th, that President William Ruto will be hosting his message. And I'd like Deno to finish this interview by reacting to this. His Excellency President William Ruto is saying here, climate action is not a global North issue or a global South issue. It is our collective challenge and it affects all of us. We need to come together to find common global solutions. Just on that very last statement, we need to come together to find common global solutions. You said the G20 and the G7, of course these are facts. It's not something that you've just said. These are facts, that they are the greatest contributors to global warming, to all the effects, of course, that are coming through with climate change. And the president there is saying that we need to come together and find common global solutions. Should we do that, or should everyone deal with their own issues separately, so that we don't have this mix-up where some are remitting more, some aren't, some are suffering in this journey towards climate action?
I think His Excellency President William Ruto there sat on the fence kiasi, because as a policy maker in the global south, we have seen a lot of people dying. We have seen a lot of loss on damage on our land, floods drought the other time. Actually, this time we are in drought, and then immediately the rains come, we'll see other people dying because of floods. So I think there's no need of sitting on the fence. We call a spade and call out the G7 and the global north, please pay us, and then stop the loss and damage.
Pay us and leave us.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. That's the message there. And I would like you to give, of course, your last remark here as we wrap up. Your last remark, of course, that is on the event that you have on FAST, an invitation for them to join you, and also a message towards that climate summit that's happening on 4th.
Thank you again. Thank you, KUTV, for the opportunity. This morning, I just want to call out all the policy makers. This time, it's not about me. It's not about my friend. It's not about my community. It's about you, policymaker. It's you who we have put there to put the laws straight, and it is time for you to enforce the laws. That is the only message I have for the policymakers.
All right, policymakers, prepare yourselves as that happens on the 4th to the 6th, but also on the first Meet Deno. This is very useful information. The climate clock, I've held it in my hands, so I feel that urge to always take care of the environment, take care of the one planet that we have, so that we have a sustainable future. The clock is ticking, guys. Whether we have a conversation on Biashara Tuesday about climate change, whether we have climate summits, whether we have COP29, 2030, it doesn't matter really. Just take action that is going to be favorable to the planet Earth. That is what we have this morning with Deno. Thank you very much for creating time for us here and bringing this amazing clock and giving us very useful information, of course. And it seems real now that we have this here.
Yes.
Mambo inakaa serious.
Mnafaa mchukue hata iko yake
yake huko, si ndio? All right, we will be doing that. In the meantime, I'm going for a short break. I'll be back with one Eric Masharia. He will be here to give us a discussion on BRICS. As I said, should we move to BRICS or should we maintain the other relations that we have? Are we changing masters? Is it a win-win? Is Kenya losing by not joining BRICS, or are we eventually going to join BRICS? Also, tying that up with what is happening in the papers, the kidnapping of Sugar Baron, a billionaire, over the weekend, and his release. Also, the blackout that happened from last week on Friday. What is happening in the Republic? Grab yourself a paper. On this morning's dailies is what we'll be going through the headlines and the most important stories, so don't go too far. I will be right back.
Are you an aspiring media practitioner, a graduate, or you just want to advance your skills in television production? Then welcome to Kenyatta University, where education meets innovation. KUTV, the premier university television station in Kenya, is now offering short courses in TV studio, field technical operations, and video editing. Through these courses, you will acquire hands-on skills on camera operations, media production, lighting techniques, audio-visual editing, and sound and visual control, and how to operate key equipment in modern TV control room. Enroll today at KUTV and discover your full potential in cutting-edge TV broadcasting. Graduates of these courses will receive professional certificates. For more information, visit our offices at KUTV Studios or call us on 020-870-4252 or 020-870-4255 or SMS us on 0739-110-544. KUTV, a new experience.
The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom.
The Bible says, when he spoke, then he spoke a parable to them, that men always ought to pray and not lose heart.
Christ says, I stand in the door and I knock. Whoever hears my voice and opens, I will dwell with him.
Like the moon, I will fade, and like the star, I will rise again. And though I fall, be rest assured that I will rise again.
Go to the hospitals, tell them that God will heal them. Go to the prisons, tell them that they'll be free. Go to the crusades and tell people that Christ is coming, and sooner than the word itself, the second advent is imminent.
Baada ya kutafuta kazi, tunaweza kuanzisha miradi yetu ambayo ingetusaidia kubadilisha maisha ya wazazi wetu.
Kwa vijana wenzangu, wengi wale hawana kazi, lakini ikiwa sisi wenyewe tutajiamini, tunaweza kujiajiri wenyewe.
Afrika kwa kweli tuna mahitaji ambayo ukiyasuluhisha unaweza kuathiri watu kwenye bara hili
bila uoga. Watu huwa na uzalishaji zaidi, wanajawa na ujasiri, wanakuwa wabunifu na wanakuwa wenye maarifa.
Niliamua kuacha kazi, hata kama sitafanikiwa, nitakuwa nimejaribu, nitakuwa najua haiwezekani.
Hakuna kitu cha ajabu hapa. Kila anayepata ufanisi hufanya kazi usiku na mchana.
Kitu kitakusukuma na kuwezesha kupata maarifa ambayo hukuwa nayo.
Tunajaribu kutengeneza kitu kitakachopita mipaka ya nchi hii.
Ikiwa unataka kubadilisha ulimwengu, anza na nyumbani.
what are some of the ways through which you can develop these skills so that we are comfortably fitting into the job?
You have to put yourself in positions where you are uncomfortable in the sense that you are not clear about what to do.
Because I used to work a corporate job before. So when I left, I happened to visit someone's farm around this area.
So this project is called Security Breach Detector and Readiness Familiarize. It is meant to be used to detect, detonate explosive.
We'll tackle all the tough issues, discuss all the weird moments, and hopefully share a few laughs along the way.
Our county has an effective waste management system when it comes to household garbage collection. But for agricultural waste is largely left uncollected. So we saw that as a health hazard, and we decided to participate in environmental sanitation through collection of that waste and bringing it to our recycling ground, where now we take all that crop waste and animal manures, the different types of animal manures, and we take them through a composting process, which we call windrow composting process.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to bring up on stage Miss India Kenya Worldwide 2018.
We're back again. Thank you for keeping it here. On Twitter, naona Tash Mitambo anasema ndio naamka kutoka Ruiru. Thank you for joining us here on the show and for giving us a shout out. On YouTube, we are streaming live KUTV Kenya. Fika pale, leave a comment, tell us where you're watching from, and also tell a friend to tell a friend, because sharing is caring. The Daily Nation, The Standard, and the Business Daily is what is of our concern here on the newspaper review. But there was a BRICS summit that happened recently where the chairperson of the BRICS at the moment, the president of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa, calling out for more countries to join this economic bloc. BRICS, as I said earlier when I was starting this show, is a term that was earlier coined. It was BRIC actually at first, before South Africa joined and added the S. So it was BRIC, coined in 2001 by a Goldman Sachs analyst or economist who said that these are countries which are the fastest growing economies and are poised to be the dominant leaders in economy by 2050. Collectively, they might be the dominant ones in 2050. 6 more countries are looking to join BRICS as Egypt, Ethiopia, I think Iran, and some others who I will be taking a look at here with Eric Masharia. We want to see, is this helpful? Is it going to be useful? And what should we be aware of as we move away from dollarization to what BRICS is now suggesting as other forms of currency in which our economies can be backed in. But first, let's welcome back Eric to the show. Karibu sana mzee.
I'm very glad to be back.
Welcome back.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Yeah man, it's always exciting to have you here. Na najua wanasema absence makes the heart grow fonder.
It's nice that you guys miss me out and call me.
Yeah, tumekumiss bana. Karibu tena. Tutaangalia mambo mazuri na mabaya yale yanafanyika kwa dailies, but just to get an understanding on what, you know, someone who's had BRICS here for the first time, what should they know? What is it? What is this about?
Well, the first thing we probably have to know is that BRICS, or as earlier you had mentioned, it was first coined as BRIC, is a collection, or is an informal group similar to the G7 in the West that seems to encompass countries that were basically countries that were proposed or had seemed to be the fastest growing economies, and would probably have taken over by the year 2050. And this was really made into a necessity, especially after the 2007-2008 financial crisis, and that is when the group actually came together. So from being a purely economic grouping, it has evolved into now a political group, to a point where it now serves as a counterweight or a counterbalance to the European G7 alliance. And as this was especially after the kicking out of Russia from the 10 G8. So BRICS has grown since then. It has its own bank now.
Sort of a rebel group.
Yeah, it's basically, I wouldn't call it rebel, an alternative to the West's perceived hegemony on the international financial and monetary system.
I take back my words. I think I've spoken like someone who's in the G7, calling them the rebel group. While speaking about the G7, the G20, can BRICS dethrone the US dollar?
This has been a conversation that has been there since 2014. However, going by statements by the BRICS group, what they are really keen, and I think it was re-emphasized again in South Africa, is that they want to provide alternatives. They really want to trade more with their own currencies. They are really advocating for the use of local currencies over the dollar. And remember, it's not just the BRICS group of nations that have a problem with the dollar might, and especially its stranglehold on world trade. So you have it's a really large group of people. So you find that most countries were really looking to BRICS to offer an alternative, maybe as an alternative currency. But however, I think it has been made clear by the group that they are really looking into growing or advocating for local currencies and trade in local currencies among member states, as well as maybe building infrastructure for maybe later on subsequent maybe rival currency to world trade. So this is something that probably would, I think people should be really maybe cautiously optimistic. Remember, for the US dollar, it's from World War II, 1945 to I think around 1970, during the Bretton Woods, 1970 or during the Nixon era where the Bretton Woods happened. That is a period of close to 30 years. So it took the dollar 30 years to be the global dominant currency. So for BRICS to provide an alternative, and remember this, it's like less than 15 years old. So let's give it time. Maybe by 2040 it might have something, but at present I think what they said, I think the position of BRICS is really, I think that is the right position. Let's work on the local currencies and then see if we can be able to come up with an alternative later on.
Speaking of local currencies, the countries that are here, each member country that is here within BRICS, have they managed to establish themselves in your own field? Have they managed to establish themselves as key players in the economy, so that now once they come together, that collective influence will be playing major on that kind of stage?
In a way, remember, so the thing about BRICS is it's not really as economic as it was before.
It's now evolved to.
So it's evolved to a geopolitical grouping as well, and it has a lot of influence in that sector. If you look at it, if just purely looking at population, India and China have some of the large, I think they have the two largest population groups on the planet, 1.4, 1.3 billion. So those two countries collectively have more people within their borders than the entire Europe and basically than the entire global north. So add South Africa, you have Ethiopia, and especially the new members coming in, Egypt, Ethiopia, each with about 100 million plus people.
I think Saudi as well.
Saudi doesn't have that many people. However, it does have the bank to match.
Yeah, right.
So it's a really, and the beautiful thing about this, and I think this was probably the key takeaway from the whole summit, you have the world's top energy producers all under one body. Basically, this is like a new OPEC. Because if you look at who the new members coming in are, you have Saudi Arabia, you have the UAE, you have Iran, and you have Russia. These are the world's leading energy producers. In terms of natural gas, you have the UAE and you have Russia. For oil, you have Saudi Arabia, you have Iran. So basically, they might be able to, if they play their cards right, they might actually be able to put basically form a new cartel on global oil, on global energy. And this is very monumental because you find that Europe was in an energy crisis. So the G7 will have to find new sources of energy.
Right.
And I think now this might, if Africa plays its cards right,
this might be
a really good opportunity for Africa.
Well, but when we speak about that, and as you said, there are geopolitical interests, sometimes they can diverge amongst the members, right? So if we have Kenya, which has its own geopolitical interests as well, we are looking towards the West. If you see, in terms of financing options, the government taking a look at, but we also have been doing business with China, which is within BRICS. That BRICS has Russia, which is not in such good terms with other countries in the Western side of the world, right? Speaking about Europe and the US, how can we then manage to navigate these kind of differences and position ourselves so that we don't miss out?
I think.
And should we join? I think the question that is in the mind of every Kenyan, then should we join BRICS?
As of right now, I am certain that Kenya has made no intentions of trying to join the BRICS group. And maybe let's see the outcome, because again, even within BRICS, there is some bit of rumble. You have the border conflict between India and China, which are the two largest groups there. So there's always going to be rumbling within any group. So the best thing is, how do you manage your national interest? Because the reason for all these groups is to ensure that you are able to advocate your own national interest. So Kenya's national interest will have to come first. So who serves Kenya's national interest best? And that is the best, and that will probably be the best route going forward. At present, we see the government has taken a more Western approach. We seem to be really keen on Europe, and this government has been keen to do business with Europe a lot, trying to revive trade deals with them and the like. In fact, most of our funding right now is coming from, I think, after the passing of the finance bill, there was an IMF approved loan close to around 400 billion. So you see, we are moving a lot towards the West. However, let's remember that most of our imports are coming from groups that are from the BRICS area. So we get most of our imports from China. We are trading more and more with China, with Brazil, with Saudi Arabia, and now with the UAE. Now these blocks are within BRICS. So I think it's going to be it's up to the government basically to decide how best to maybe work around its relationship again now with Ethiopia and Egypt joining. And remember, Kenya is putting a lot of investment in Ethiopia. So it's upon us to realize how we are going to manage all this. And again, it's also nice because I don't think it is, especially with the financial system, global financial system in such chaos. It's maybe good that we don't put all our eggs in one basket. Maybe find an alternative to the global reserve, which is the dollar. I think we have a lot of countries that are backing up their currencies in gold. How we are also trading in local currencies. Maybe it's also a route we can try and pursue. Yeah, you can try pursue, at least strengthen the shilling for a bit.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Here I have some information that I wanted us to be aware of, which is a wall of BRICS, this is what Al Jazeera is calling it, a wall of BRICS. So the countries that have been invited to join as of January of 2024, Argentina, Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE. So this is going to begin January 1st of 2024. 6 new countries which are going to be joining that BRICS. And actually just recently, during that BRICS summit, they're saying that more members actually applied. 40 countries have expressed interest, and 23 have already put in their application. So this is not something that we can just brush off, or the West can brush off.
No, we cannot, definitely. Right now, it is a very significant moment, because the last time we saw this was basically during the fall of the Soviet Union. The world is literally moving right now from a unipolar world system to a multipolar system. So it is upon every country right now to try and find their place in the new world order. And you see, so BRICS have come in, they've realized the opportunity is there. So, and they're coming in to try and have, basically they're coming in as a spokesman, and they're trying to position themselves as spokesmen for the global south, which is the new developing nations, basically, of which Kenya is part of. And how they've positioned themselves is that sisi ndio tutawaongelea pale juu. And so you see, it's something very significant, and everybody wants a significant stake there. I mean, Kenya has been trying to stretch its muscle, especially under the previous government, of which my very able party, the Jubilee Party, was the ruling party, was able to try and put itself, especially within the UN Security Council, position itself as a how would you call it, as a diplomatic hub, as a regional diplomatic hub. So how best can we then use bodies such as BRICS to position ourselves at an even more advantageous position? That is something we should look at. And again, the president has been really passionate about financing models, especially those coming from Western institutions such as the World Bank and the IMF, which have a tendency of charging incredible rates to developing countries, especially those in sub-Saharan Africa. And the new development bank by BRICS offers a wonderful alternative. So if the IMF, remember, the IMF will not just give you financing, they will come up with rules to those finances. We call them structural adjustment programs. And some of the hit we are feeling right now in the economy is a result of those structural adjustment programs. But those are not there within the new development banks. So we can't really just say, you can't really ignore it, because you have a wonderful alternative, especially at least economically. You have a wonderful alternative to the IMF.
I'm going to throw into the deepest part of this ocean and just play wide, right? When we're talking about geopolitical shifts and taking a look at the kind of countries that are being involved here, the United States of America should actually be concerned, right? So if we're taking a look at Iran, joining in, it's like sending a message. That's how I interpreted it. It's like sending a message, we have them here and we're going to keep them here. Recently, even with the involvement of South Africa and Russia, we saw a few words here and there about how is South Africa realigning itself to Russia. Russia is involved in Ukraine, and the US is not all about Russia invading Ukraine. So you have to be on the side of the United States. If Kenya decides, and this is that far-fetched moment, it says IMF hatutaki, now let's focus on BRICS and then get our funding and all our financing in that direction. What will that mean for our politics and our geopolitical relations?
It will probably not be as strenuous as you would imagine.
Okay.
Our share of trade with the United States isn't as significant as our share of trade with some of these other countries. We don't really trade with the US as much. So the only thing that will probably would be perceived as a threat, and this is if things come to shove, maybe as an extreme, is maybe the sanctioning of the dollar, of dollar use within the country.
Okay.
And again, I don't think that it will be in the interest of the United States to do such a thing, because again, the reason why people are so motivated to find an alternative to the dollar is because the dollar has been militarized right now. So if you go against the whims of what is this thing? They call itself the rule-based order, which is not international law. So they've moved away from international law, created a new hub, a new pocket for themselves, and new rules for themselves, and now everybody has to live within those rules. So this whole rule-based order and the militarization of the dollar is the reason why people are moving away.
Okay.
So the more you keep doing it, the more people will move away. So the worst that will come is to probably it's just sanctioning. And again, we've seen sanctions don't really work as the sanctioning.
As they used to.
Yeah, it doesn't really work because they've been doing this. I don't think there's a country more sanctioned than Russia. Yet the ruble was one of the best performing currencies 2020, especially since the invasion, and the economy is still growing.
Yeah. And also given that, you know, even if the hyping of the de-dollarization, that's the correct word, the hyping of the de-dollarization, even if it doesn't happen within the horizon, I could imagine that you know, 2 of the 3 largest global economies trading with each other, even in a few years' time, that would raise a little concern or a lot of concern with the US.
It has already, because India, Russia, and China being the largest energy consumer on the planet, have been trading in their own currencies. They've virtually almost de-dollarized. Venezuela, Iran have also been doing the same. Argentina is now joining in the blocks. So especially when it comes to energy, and again, the dollar is pegged on petrol. On basically, the dollar is pegged on. It's no longer. It's pegged on petrol. Let's just put it that way. And Saudi Arabia, being the largest producer of oil, now in BRICS, if at any point it decided that I'm going to start taking local currencies, that is actually a threat. Probably they will actually. That is actually a threat. That the US will have to take seriously. And again, now you're having new developing countries, especially those in sub-Saharan Africa. It will be against United States interests to try and start playing the sanctioning games with these countries. Because remember, right now is not like in the 90s or the 80s. There are more options now. You're finding, and this is what is driving. You find issues such as in West Africa, where France, it will be in the United States' interest to play, you know, just background. We are friends. What you do, OKENYE is up to you. Let's just build our relationship with you because they are late to the game. China has been doing this since the early 2000s. Russia is seen as a friend of the continent. The United States has, you know, ikona matope kwa uso bado. So instead of trying to amplify this and playing arrogance like the French, and you see the consequences of that, the best thing was probably, let's just stay friends, let's just build our relationship with you. Whatever happens with Russia is my business with Russia. Whatever happens with Iran is my business with Iran. My business with you is my business with you. So bilateral agreements and bilateral trade, I think, will be the key focus for the United States, and that is the best way that they can come out on top.
Right. And the empire might be afraid of its fall, isn't it?
The empire is falling.
Every empire has its sunset.
Yeah.
And probably this is it. I'm not saying anything, just interpret it as you would. Let's look at the headlines here, Mashari. Because of time, I think we'll just go through the headlines mostly and see the most important stories and hear your reactions to it. Let's start with the Standard, which has politics, so that we can tie it with that BRICS conversation. At the front of the Standard this morning, Ruto wades into rise sugar wars. So I'll start with the fact that there is a typo, isn't it? Or that isn't a typo. What is the apostrophe after Ruto supposed to be?
I think they were too quick
so the editor of the Standard, ni kama leo alikuwa leo ameingia kama amelala kidogo. So Ruto wades into rise sugar wars. President William Ruto is vowing to crush sugar cartels, made reference to Janswat Rai, who was abducted by unknown persons, saying he's a nobody to manipulate the industry. In his words, President William Ruto, while taking a tour of the western region of this country, said that, you know, hawa watu wamekelea kesi, mwingine amekelea kesi, nataka kuambia wao wote hawafai kuwa hapo. So he's kicking this billionaires out of this sugar companies which have been ailing for quite some time due to the insolvency. Rai was also kidnapped during this period. There was also a questioning of the Victoria Commercial Bank CEO, who's also associated with Rai. First of all, I'll begin with a more sinister question before we come to the politics of sugar. How is it possible that a sugar baron who is in control of 4+ I think sugar companies can be abducted and dropped back a few days later. No ransom is asked of him, and we continue business as usual.
I think that is the unfortunate thing about the democratic space that we are in right now. I think I've mentioned this before, and I think I've mentioned this before about the presidency. The presidency should be very careful with the kind of words they use, because their words are not the same as those of common mwananchi like me and you. So the presidency, by uttering certain words, I won't repeat them, but by mentioning certain words,
very chilling statements actually made.
So state agencies will act on that. Whether he intentionally wants that to happen, or it was just speech trying to warm up the crowd, state agencies will act on that. Now, unfortunately, so when you hear your boss say something and he seems serious, you will do something about it before. And probably that is what happened. I'm not in the know, but if that is what happened, then I think it's time that maybe the handlers of the president, maybe they need to do something. And this is a problem with the whole presidency, not just His Excellency, not as a direct
individual,
him as an individual, but maybe the team handling, maybe they could do something about it. It's not right that we go back to such kind of days. I think we've come too far to go back
to the days where people disappear, and this is not just for him. I think we've had cases this year, people disappearing here and there and reappearing and with no statements, and it's a cause for worry. I'll have to say I'm concerned on a personal level. It brings some sort of deja vu back to the 90s, and you kind of see the climate that is going on in the country right now, and it's almost a mirror reflection of what happened back then. What I would pray is that since we have a new constitution that limits certain powers and privileges of the government, I think that is the best thing is that we just adhere to it. And we really need to see ourselves more than just how, we need to have a better vision of ourselves as a country. And even just beyond the politics, even going into the economics, I think as a country we need to decide, what are we? Are we capitalists? Are we socialists? Or are we something else? Because personally, I'm very conservative, and I'm very capitalistic. So I look at this, and because now from this statement you find that the government wants to kick out the Rai brothers, and bring in a new investor. So who would want to invest in a place with such political turmoil that I may come bring in my few billions and then try to revive an industry? The purpose of business is to generate profit. Right.
It's not to
have fun.
Sio na pia si ati ninakusaidia sana. You get help from it as a result of deriving profit.
Right. There's profit involved. It's not just a charity.
Yeah, it's not charity. So if whatever way these guys find, and again, it's their money. Not give me back my money, and then you can do
your
whatever.
own stuff. Yeah. They're saying they should drop the cases. So hopefully we'll see what happens with that. Seems this court cases, President saying they are stalling the investment into this company.
By who?
Who knows? Let us know if you do know. The Daily Nation. Here we have gallant heroines. Let's talk about something positive for once, kidogo, sindio? Medal charge to save Kenya. The blushes. We have here record beater. That's what they're calling her. The record beater, Faith Kipyegon, 1,500 meters and 5,000 meters. Congratulations. She called herself, the CNN called her a superwoman. I think she is, right?
Yeah, truly.
There's no record she can't break, it seems. Dancing Queen Mary Mora also made us smile over the weekend in that Budapest World Athletics, if I'm not wrong, championship that happened in Budapest, Hungary. It's actually said Budapest. Did you know that?
No, I did not.
It's Budapest. So next time you say to someone, washtue kidogo na Budapest.
Yeah, they must have some relatives from Moranga.
Oh, man. All right, what do you have to say to our athletes?
Congratulations.
Yeah.
I think you've done our country proud, to be quite honest. I think right now probably the limelight goes to Faith Kipyegon at present. She just seems addicted to breaking world records.
Man.
So it's really nice. I think this is wonderful news. We have reason to, there's positivity, there's a little bit of positivity.
Tunaweza toa sasa spotlight kwa CS Sports.
I think he's covered himself in a way. So let's see how the CS Sports will welcome back these people. Tunaangalia sana hapo.
Kama atajiokoa from the wars amekuwa kipitia.
To the silver medalist, I saw the Wanyonyi race. That was nice. I think huyo jamaa alitokea from nowhere hapo mara ya mwisho, but we could have taken it. So congratulations to the silver medalist and as well as the bronze medalist. Something very maybe this is I saw the interview with Faith, and she dedicated her wins to her husband.
Right, saying he's been a supportive husband.
So I think that is positive news also, at least on the relationship front. So
relationships zinaweza kuwa mzuri.
They can work. And also nani aitwaje, the sprinter.
Who's that?
No, our 100-meter champion, African champion.
Manyala.
Also doing the same. So there's
dedicating it to the girlfriend.
Saying ni kazi ya bibi kufika hapo.
Kweli.
So that's some good news.
Mshikaji anaweza kupeleka mbali.
The right one.
Ole wetu wengine wetu. Here below here there's higher salaries for teachers as schools reopen. I think we'll wrap up with that one as the headline on the Daily Nation. Teachers wameongezewa pesa, walikuwa wanataka 30% to 70%, but wame agree on 7%. Progress maybe.
It's at least it's almost going at around the same rate as inflation. So
at least they can keep up with the cost of living. Right.
They have a salary, so I don't think the people who should be complaining are the hustlers.
Okay, so good news to teachers here. You can take a look at the new deal that the teachers union has agreed with the employer, and you will see the lowest paid tutors benefit more, with those teaching in rural areas bagging improved housing allowance. So kama wewe ni mwalimu, furahia sana. Since tumefika kwa walimu, wacha tufanye hapa game kidogo tuone kama mwalimu alikuwa rada. So we are going to have 10 questions. If you're at home, this is the chance for you to also answer some of these general questions to see how your knowledge is like. Tutacheza against, I think wewe ndo the only other person umweni beat. Have you ever beaten me? I think once, yeah? I've only lost twice and once was to you. So let's see what happens today. Kama umesahau syllabus tangu hapa. Let's have the questions now displayed here on the screen by my director. And then tuangalie kama mlikuwa keen kwa darasa. Every question has few seconds and then we continue. Question number 1, what does GPS stand for? All right. Question number 2, who is the founder of TikTok? Oh man. Can I say the guy who had a meeting with the president?
That's the CEO.
That's the CEO. He's not the founder. The CEO isn't the founder? Oh man. Anyway, let's see. Who invented the first automobile? Hello, Metuai. Who invented the first automobile? Man. Question number 4, name the peaks Mount Kenya has. Hey. Hey, leo ametupata. Mimi hata najibu number 1 ile niliachia njiani. Question number 5, who is the current Attorney General in Kenya? Hiyo. Don't nashukuru nimeandika the previous. Question number 6, which is the most populous country in the world? Acha ni feature sikopi. Question number 7. What does NATO stand for? Oh, NATO. Ile history.
Jeshi hao wanatishiana huko. Really, me, I don't know.
Which is the largest ocean in the world? That's question 8. Which is the largest ocean in the world? Mweko mtu exam room ana click tu. Who is the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad? Come on. Nafikiria tu Tomiyasu wa Arsenal. All right, question number 10, the last one. What is the currency used in Brazil?
I have it at the top of my tongue. Iko hapa naiona lakini haikuji.
Leo ni kubaya. Hebu let's see if you're at home, let us know what you got. But saizi ndo tunaanza kujibu. Please useme nimepata nini at the end of it. Yeah? Question number 1, GPS. What does GPS stand for? Global Positioning System. So, yeah. Question number 2, who is the founder of TikTok?
I have no idea.
Who is that guy? I didn't get it.
Who is he?
That guy.
That's him?
Yeah.
I thought he would be older.
Zhang Yimi. Yeah. Question number 3, who invented the first automobile? Hapa hivi niko na Carl Benz.
Yes.
That's Carl Benz.
Yeah, Mercedes bana. Benz boys. You have to know it.
Benz boys. Question number 4, name the peaks Mount Kenya has.
I don't know one.
Sorry, hata mimi nimeandika Lenana.
Oh, there's Batian and Nelion.
Batian and Nelion. So hiyo hata ni third ama. Sorry, nimeandika Lenana. Who is the current Attorney General in Kenya? It is Muturi.
Muturi Justin.
Na nilisema nimeandika previous. Oh, it's Muturi Justin, the former speaker, the National Assembly. Question number 6, which is the most populous country in the world? That's India.
How?
Why not China?
I thought they have a difference of around 100,000 million.
Yeah. All right, so it's India.
Okay.
Okay, so India and China have half the world's population. Okay, question number 7, NATO. What is North Atlantic Treaty Organization? All right, question number 8, which is the largest ocean in the world?
It's a Pacific.
It's Pacific. I wanted to write Pacific, man. Nini sasa hii? Atlantic. It's Pacific. Question number 9. Who is the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad? Robert Kiyosaki.
Yeah.
Mi nilikuwa nafikiria, anyway, hacha tu. Tomiyasu. I don't know why Tomiyasu is in my head, man. It's the same sound. Question number 10. What is the currency used in Brazil?
What is it called?
Brazilian Real. 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 Si ile Instagram, ile ya pesa.
Confused it with the Mexican one.
All right. We've got what we've got, so just give it to yourself. Thank you very much, Eric, for creating time for us here and for beating me again, man. Hey, you never. Hey, what? I'm just losing. Yeah, I've been beaten. I won't say my score, but thank you for joining us here. Maybe just a last word as you read us the last word at the back of the Daily Nation, of the Business Daily. Sorry.
So the Business Daily, the last word comes from an Austrian psychiatrist by the name of Viktor Emil Frank. And he says, what is to give light must endure burning. Yeah, true.
Let's get it again once.
What is to give light must endure burning.
All right. What is to give light must endure burning. Thank you very much, Eric, for time.
Asante sana.
All right. Thank you also for tuning in here to Biashara Tuesday. It has been exciting to have you from 7 in the morning to right about now. Remember, KUTV Rise Today comes to you 2 days of the week. On Monday, you get Current Blessing, and then that's on art and culture. And today, we discuss business on this show of Biashara Tuesday. Interact with us on all social platforms. We are very digital at KUTV Kenya, and also on my personal handles at Richard_OKENYE. If you did not learn